On this episode, we push through the challenges as we make serious progress on our pallet shed.
This is Desert Homestead Prepping. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. So I ran into a bit of a snag that, I should have known it would have been an issue. But this large pallet right here, there's two of them, is buried by all this stuff. So what I'm planning to do is take these long 2x4s, and they're 12 footers, and so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on each one of these huge pallets. And I was just going to take the Sawzall and cut the nails and use each one of those for the roof of the shed. But now I have to undo my organized mess here and pull these pallets out from underneath there, or at least one of them, and then restack everything the best I can. Alright, I guess I'm gonna get going at unstacking and restacking. Moving along on their own projects. Matthew weeding the garden. We got Gabe over there extending the wire around the trees, and I'm over here. Got ourselves some new tarps on the snowmobiles. We're moving along. Got the pallets mostly broke down. I got still some more to do. I'm letting the batteries recharge, and while I'm doing that, I'm getting the layout set up so that I can have this set up in the same orientation as our cabin and shipping container and the greenhouse. So the plan is this is going to be a 10 by 20 pallet shed, and I'm trying to figure it out as I go. Matthew is behind us ripping up weeds from the garden. He's doing a great job. It's a huge pile right next to me here. So I'm trying to figure it out as I'm going. The plan is I'm going to drive in these T-posts that are going to anchor it to the ground. I'm going to do one on each corner. And since the wall is going to be so long, it's the back wall, I'm going to do one in the middle, and then on this side I'll have the door, and I'm going to put a T-post on each side of the door to stabilize it and keep it anchored in place. So I'm trying to figure it out exactly, because as I kind of cut up these pallets, I can't one corner to the next is going to be exactly 20 feet. You know, it might be, you know, just under 20 or just slightly over. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to drive this post. I'm going to put in the first pallet and run it over to this other corner, figure out exactly the best spot. Then I'm going to drive that T-post and probably do that all the way along the corners. So it's probably going to be slow going, and that's how I'm going to try and get this thing accomplished. So this is where we're at. So here's how we have it set up. You can see these T-posts right here in the corner. And this is where I'm going to frame in for the door. So this is going to give support on this side. And then we have T-posts on each corner. And it seems fairly sturdy for just walls being up. So you see we have a full pallet here, a full pallet right here, and then here in the center is a half pallet to give us the 10 feet. These pallets are just really large. They're like 6 feet tall on this edge. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave this wall this height, but over here I'm gonna bring this up probably another, I don't know, 2-3 feet, so that we can have the slant roof that comes this direction. So I think that's good enough for today. These T-posts, you know, I'll be able to kind of bend these back into the corner, and I'll strap these down with some strapping that's going to anchor this to these T-posts. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's 14 pallets right here. Right, so this is the next phase. Now that we've got the walls in place, we've taken some of these pallets and we've cut them in half. So these are just under 3 feet. And that's going to give us our slope that we need to come down on our slant roof. And so Gabe's just holding it for demonstration. So on the inside, we're going to put these 2x4s inside here, and that's going to give us the strength that we need, and we'll anchor these to hold it in place. And we'll do that all along this front wall. And so for the door, I'll have to frame that in for strength. I still haven't decided if I'm going to use just a normal door or if we want to make a door so that we have a larger entrance. We're still trying to think that through, so we'll get to that when we have made up our mind. So since we got the blade on the four-wheeler, my wife is popping up all the weeds along the road and kind of around the property. This where, oops, she dug in real good. She'll figure it out. But she's learning how this works, and it works really good. Just skimming that blade across the ground, that works really good for clearing these weeds out. They just pop right out of the ground. It's pretty cool. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. Getting to the tedious part where I'm trying to get it straight across the top, because the headers on the very top here are going to be what I am hooking the framing to for the roof. And so we wanted to get the walls pretty straight. So here's the back wall here. It's looking pretty straight. Now these pallets are not meant to be used for building like this. I mean, they're not exactly the same measurements. You know, they're slightly off by like a 1/4 inch here or there, and you know, kind of crooked. So I've been kind of muscling some of them in place to make it work. And so the headers on the top of each one of these walls, this back wall and the front wall, I got those from the pallets that I had cut into pieces back over here. So I got that all cut into pieces and ready to use all those 12-foot long pieces. And these ones were just some of the other odd and end pieces that came off of the pallets. So as you can see, this back wall is about 6 feet tall, and this front wall is about 9 feet tall. So I don't know, probably went pretty high on it, but you know what, it'll be plenty of space for putting some shelves in there and stacking stuff up. So this is how we attached each pallet, you know, just with these lengths of wood right here that actually screw in on each side right here and keep it pretty well secure. Yeah, it's actually pretty solid. But once we get the roof on here, get the framing for the roof, it'll be so secure. And having the T-posts, and I have a stake back here in this back wall, are going to keep the walls from tipping out or in. And then of course the roof is going to keep the upper part of the walls secure. I'm not worried about this thing blowing away. I mean, each one of these pallets are probably about, I don't know, 40 to 50 pounds. And I mean, after I'm done with all the lumber that I use on this, I mean, it's gonna be heavy. Anyway, that's it for today. Gonna wrap it up, and we'll hit it again first thing tomorrow morning and see how far we can get on putting the roof frame in place and framing in this door section. So we got all the framing for the roof done now and mounted, and now that everything is pretty well secured to where we want it, we're going to anchor all these T-posts to these corners. So this is how I'm anchoring it. So if you see this banding, I guess they're anchor straps. So what it is it's this stuff right here, and it comes in a roll, and this stuff is very useful for all kinds of things. I mean, I use it, you know, for hanging pipe or securing pipe in a wall, or you can even use it to hold conduit for fencing. I mean, this stuff is useful for so many different things. So I'll just kind of show you how we're strapping it on there. So you want to get it really snug and tight. You don't want any play at all, so I get it really close. Okay, so that one's anchored and it folds in place. And then on this side, I'm going to actually force it tight by going at an angle here, and it'll pull it snug. There you go. Super tight and snug. I've done that with all of these, and that'll actually take the rigidness of this 2x4 and the anchor of this T-post and actually make it so much more secure, where it's actually anchored to the ground pretty good. So this is as far as we're gonna get for this time around. Got the framing all up on the roof, got the framing around the door done. I think that's gonna be pretty good for this time. So nothing special. Got this door for free. It's kind of bent right there. You can see where it got ran over by a four-wheeler. Guy who lives next door to us in town gave it to me a couple years ago, but I figured it worked just fine for a shed. Fairly decent sized door. So when I come back, the plan is I'll cut these off kind of flush like I have pretty much everything else, like I did on the greenhouse, like I did on the cabin. I don't really like to have the overhang for wind to grab up inside there. And I think it's looking pretty good. Very tedious work. These pallets are not designed to be built into a structure. So I think I've heard somebody say before, if you have the right materials and the right tools, you can do a good job. Well, apparently I've never done a good job because I rarely have the right materials and the right tools. So I pretty much have to scrounge and find what's free and what's available, and have to rig various tools to make things work. So I think I've done a pretty decent job. We were calculating the cost. So far, the cost on this is $60, because I did pay for screws and, you know, the brackets up top and T-posts. So yeah, we're about $60 into it. I think that's pretty good. All right, we're gonna leave off there. Thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to bringing you along for the next time that we're out here. We'll continue on this, and hopefully the next phase of putting the window in right here will go faster, and still a little bit of framing to do along these edges here to shore it up on both sides. All right, thanks for joining us. We wish you all the best and hope that everything's going well in all your lives. God bless. We'll talk to you later.